So I had planned on talking about reverse sexism in the church. Might need to table that
Why?
because we talked about sports for so long.
So
Nah, man, I'm not even up for it right now because I'm out of that mode.
that's why I said let's do a side A, side B.
So no, but my mode is the same.
Because the transition will be kind of weird. I still want
Do
to
we
talk about
do we transition well? I purposely don't transition well.
it. Yeah, we don't. But it's
Sometimes I'll segue nicely, but I purposely don't transition well.
good. Okay.
Cause it's like I'm talking about unrelated topics.
Yeah.
Um,
But that was gonna be such a good topic, though.
reverse sexism in the church. Let's talk about it then.
It was gonna be a good topic.
See, we just transitioned. Boom.
Bow.
Reverse sexism in the church. But I don't know if it's a church-wide thing. I don't know if it's like across the board.
And it's just something we're experiencing right now.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and I don't want to.
I mean, but I've experienced it elsewhere.
Have you?
Back home? Yeah.
So is it a denominational thing? So should we call it reverse sexism in Southern Baptist Church?
I think it's just church as a whole. Probably. I think it's a church as a whole.
I don't know if it's church as a whole.
You don't think so?
I mean,
Because I've experienced it outside of a Southern Baptist as
have
well.
you?
Yeah.
Okay, well then, boom.
Yeah.
So I want you guys to understand my train of thought here. We may wind up doing a side A, side B. I'm not opposed to that.
Okay.
So I want you guys to understand my train of thought here. And I'm just gonna be transparent with you all. And this is a very touchy issue for me, and it even hurts me to talk about it on some level. That might surprise John to some extent because I talk about it so much because it upsets me so much. But then it might not surprise him because if I'm talking about it, that means that it's a pressing issue, it's a touchy issue for me. But I don't know how prevalent it is in churches or Protestant churches as a whole. But recently, I would say within the past 10 months, it's hit home for me in a way that I never thought imaginable. So I would always hear in our church circles, I would always hear, why don't men pursue women in the church? Da 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 da. And I'm always thinking what is a woman's job? You know what I mean? In that aspect, are you supposed to wait? Is that even your job to be saying that? You know what I mean? Is that even your place to say something like that? And don't say, and I know that men have a place, so I'm not just saying place is not gender specific to women. But and that was my main issue for one. It was always brothers, you gotta pursue these women. And I might be alienating some people here. And so by no means, and when I talk about this, please do not think that this is all churches. All churches don't do anything. There's no such thing as that every church does, whether it be good or bad. So please don't label all churches as doing this. It's just something and I love my church, so I am talking about my church.
But just not specifically.
Yeah, I want to preface this, and I have to. I love, for those who know what church I go to, I'm not about to shout it out, but those who know what church I go to, I love my church. I absolutely adore my church.
Love it.
I've been there for 6 years because of my love for the church and for the people at the church, for my pastor and what he stands for. So, and I don't think that this is even a rule. So it's not it's just something that's happening. And I don't think it's the makeup, yo, this is doctrine. This is church doctrine. It's just When you got people, you got dirty hands. And when you got dirty hands and you cooking a pot and you cooking something, stuff just gonna get contaminated. That's just what it is. Like, cause people are dirty. Like, so I'm Noriega. I was listening to Noriega's podcast, Nori's podcast.
Didn't know he had one.
He had one. He just started one.
Okay.
And he said him and Ja Rule. He was like everybody. I was listening to it today. He said everybody is foul. Everybody has a level of foul to them. So this isn't just like a Christian concept. People know this. People are innately evil.
Depravity.
Yes.
Total depravity.
Innately.
Yes.
So when something isn't going right in a church, please don't just jump to the conclusion that, oh, well, there is no God. Something stupid like that. My God. But that we are in need of a savior, and from time to time things can become contaminated because we, in our sinful nature, do sinful things, even things that we don't think may be overtly sinful and may not even realize is sin to begin with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's grace for that.
Yep.
And there's atonement for that.
That's why we got community too, man. Because if we don't see it, they're there to point that out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and that's why I hate that the saying like you can't judge me, only God can judge me type situation.
No, we're called to judge.
We're called to judge.
We're called to judge one another.
Yes.
In the faith.
Right.
Yeah. I know that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
We're called to judge one another in the faith. So if you're a non-believer, I'm not judging so it's like this. If I see you're not a Christian. You don't know about a person that can take you away from all that from all of that. You know what I mean? And you're in sin. And and it's like you don't believe in all of that stuff. My thing is, I'm not judging you because you don't know. And the Lord hasn't put that on you to know or to want to know. Why am I not judging you? Because at one time I was there.
Right.
My eyes weren't opened. Why am I judging you? Because at one point I was there. Shoot, at some point, even in my belief, I'm there. Why am I judging you? But as a believer, there's a certain standard like that you've made a proclamation. So it's not to say that you're always going to do the right thing, but it is to say, hey man, you say that you believe in this. Faith without works is dead. You know what I mean? So it's not saying that you saved from your works, but your faith has to look like something. So that's where we're coming from. Like, and it's not like, so judgment is different from condemnation in the Christian sense. Like, so I can never condemn you and say you're finished, you're finalized because you sinned or da-da-da-da-da. That's not my place. God, that's God's place, and he doesn't even do that. The Bible says you condemn yourself because of your non-belief. Like, the Lord's not even condemning you. You condemned yourself because you don't believe. That's the non-believer. That's for the non-believer. You don't. That's you. But off that, yeah. Just wanted to preface that. So don't go around thinking that all churches do something and that all churches are like this. It's just something that's happening in my life and apparently it's happened to John at some point. So he wanted to talk about it. I was off it because I got giddy talking about sports. So this might be the side B.
Side B, bro.
Oh, okay then. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ready.
What?
So I'm definitely calling this the episode that got me in trouble.
I'm with it.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah. So, I don't even know where I want to begin because I don't want to say everything. I'm not ashamed of anything, but it's just like, how much do you divulge? I'm gonna cut all this and stuff out. Yeah, so recently, within the past year, I've just been struggling with reverse sexism in the church. Now, I'm calling it reverse sexism, but it's just sexism. I'm calling it reverse sexism because sexism usually is in favor of the it's in the opposition of of a lady, of a female, of a woman. So sexism is usually rendered towards when somebody says sexism, it's like a woman is being, some woman isn't getting her just due just because she's a woman. You know what I mean? She's being discriminated against. That's the word I was looking for. Discriminated. So, and it's the meaning, because I'm calling it reverse sexism. It's supposed to mean that generally men don't get that same type of scrutiny. Okay. So for the sake of this, I'm calling it reverse sexism, even though it's an actual term. I just looked it up earlier. I was like, reverse sexism. I looked it up. It was right there. I'm a pretty smart guy, apparently. So what's been floating around, and what the general or what I've seen to be the general consensus is that, and it's a very hurtful thing, and I'm saying it's hurtful because right now I'm thinking about it, and it's like, it pains me to even say it, that so we already know in some doctrines, in some denominations, women aren't allowed to preach. Women aren't allowed to lead in certain areas. Women aren't allowed to do this and do that. And it almost seems like men have free reign to do which and whatever they want to do in Christ, right? So a lot of feminists, they disagree with Christianity because of that, because they feel like it's sexist in that, but without realizing that, no, you're viewing it as the man's role as being superior, and that the woman's role as being inferior, and not looking at it as a 50-50 type thing. Like, my role as a man isn't greater than yours. It's just different roles, and there's roles that we have to play. You know what I mean? But that's a whole nother other thing. So there's sexism in that way for sure. But the reverse sexism in the church comes from, well, I'm not calling it sexism because I understand there being roles and all of that type of stuff. Okay. And that's a whole nother topic. We can talk about that on another podcast, but I think it's just a matter of looking at things differently and being not even being content, being happy in your womanhood, and looking at it as a gift, and looking at it as you glorifying the Lord in your womanhood, and me in my role as a man looking at it as me glorifying the Lord in my role, and not so much, oh, well, his role is better than mine because he leads and he does this and that, and it's like, but who's going to follow? And women, you also can lead. You also can lead in areas. Lead in areas that a man cannot lead, you know? So, but that's a whole nother other thing, and we'll probably get to that one day. I would like to. I think that's a provocative topic. I'm taking forever to get to it because I don't know. It hurts, man. It hurts, John.
It's something you should take your time with, because, you know, that's wisdom. Because then you're not saying something that, I'm not gonna say out of character, but something that you're just being wise in what you're about to say. Like,
I'm trying to figure out how to
carefully thought out.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to approach it for sure.
Yeah.
Do you? I'll let you.
I don't even know how to approach it in a sense. So
So, I don't know how to approach this, so bear with us. Maybe we should have prayed. Lord, be with us on this topic. And I know somebody sitting on the edge of their seat, like, just say it, just say it already. It's not that big a deal. Just say it. Okay. But it's really like one of those things. It's like, huh? Yeah. Cause it's so many underlying things that go with it. Mm-hmm. But so there's this thing that's, like I said, I don't think that is doctrine, but I think that a lot of people believe it. Therefore, it being somewhat doctrine. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Where if a woman feels a way about a man that he did something to make her feel that way.
That's a good way to say it.
Was it?
That's a good way
Praise
to say
God.
it.
Thank you, Lord. That if a woman has any type of affinity for a brother, that he opened that door and that it was him, and that if it's, and that, so that a woman has, so nothing, so it's like, so no, we're not sexist, but then it's sexist, and it's also reverse sexist. It's sexist on both ends, because it's saying on one end, you must have done something conniving and player-like to open up Pandora's box, young man or old man or boy or whatever. And woman, you are so docile and you are so naive that you have no control over your emotions, that you have no control over how you feel, and no say in anything when a man is around or when a man approaches you. I've never been of that school of thought. Reason number one being, I've been turned down many a time on multiple levels. Multiple levels of intimacy, I'll say. So I've never, and it started for me in kindergarten. So I knew from a very early age that women are not inferior to men. They are very much so our equals. They're equal. So it never crosses my mind that I have some type of imposing power over a female just because I'm a man. I have a problem with that thinking. I have a very big problem with that way of thinking. I do. Because what does that say about a woman? Not like, take me out of the equation. What does that say about women? Now, that's not to say that women aren't impressionable, but men are impressionable. So when we say, oh no, well, this girl feels this way about you. What have you done to make her feel this way? That implies that she has no mind of her own, that she is easily swindled, that she is easily canoodled, and I don't know if I said the right word, but and you know, like, just, I don't think that's the right word, but like,
I don't even know what that
easily means. Bewildered and beguiled. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And like, she's just like this ball of malleability, and I think that's horrible to spew out. You know what I mean? And like to disperse, because it disempowers women. It disempowers them. So, and I don't know if it's men doing this, because I don't hear women saying that in the church. I don't hear women saying, yeah, nah, we're powerless, da 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 da. And the type of power that men have over us and all of that. It's men that do that. And it's sexist. And it's wrong for that to be your thought process. Now, granted, it does happen. It happens where a guy can be so charming and like charm his way into a woman's heart, into her pants, if he, you know what I mean? But what it is like, it almost seems like they're treating it like some type of spell that you put on a woman, where she's just so, like, she's helpless. And I totally disagree with that. So a woman has a mind of her own, and a woman can vote, and a woman can do this, and a woman can go to school, and a woman can work a full-time job and all of that. And she's woman, because she's woman, and I'll get to that. She's woman up until a man is involved. Huh? What does that say? You know, that's not a good message. And I don't like, so believe it or not, and I know some people listening to this will be like, what? I came up with this term like maybe like a week ago. I am a male feminist. And it might even be to my detriment. Because I believe in women's rights. When I found out, like, in some, you know, I remember like women not being able to wear pants at a church I was going to. I was like, yo, that's a big issue for me, and I don't know why, but it is. You know what I'm saying? Women just being sold off. Women feeling like they can't do certain jobs because this and that and all of that. I am a male feminist, but I'm also a feminist. Excuse me. I'm also a feminist to the point where I believe that you have a mind of your own in every situation. So I don't believe that you're helpless in some situations, especially when it comes to a man, where you just lose all your bearings and all your inhibitions and all of that stuff. I'm not with it. So you can't be for it in one sense and then be against it in the next. No, it has to be across the board. I think, and that's where I'm at with it, man. Because it is this rhetoric that, and it's this and for lack of a better term, it's this unspoken rhetoric that a man. Oh well, no. So yeah, men lead. That's okay. I think we can all agree on that. A men's natural born role is to lead. Lead. Yeah. But there, so and this is when we creep into a word that I'm not very fond of by any stretch of the imagination. So if a man indulges with a female in premarital intercourse or whatever, that a woman could easily be seen as helpless in a situation like that. And all she has to do is say, hey, yeah, well, I didn't really feel like doing it. And then all of a sudden, it's a problem. And it should be a problem. It should be a problem if that was the case. But it's also like, and I'm not making any excuses for that. But for it to be like, that can be really detrimental to somebody's character. Because for one, if you're looking at it from a standpoint of, well, if you're going into it, you know, and sex in general, you're going into that situation and you may be, like you've done it before. You're well versed in this. You look for all the signs. You're not even looking for a no. You're looking for apprehension. Like you're going even that far. You know what I mean? To say, hey man, at the first sign of anything that she don't want to do, that she's not cool with, I'm out of there. And all the woman has to say is, I didn't really feel like doing it after it's all said and done. And it's like, oh well, you forced her and you manipulated the situation and you did. It's like, wait. She has a voice. She could have said something. Now, once again, I'm not caping for rape at all. You get consent for sure. You know what I mean? First of all, and we're talking as believers. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But I'm talking as a believer, but I'm also talking as a man, as just a regular man in this instance. Because premarital sex isn't going to stop until Jesus comes back. People aren't going to stop sinning until Jesus comes back. That's just what it is. So, and I'm not advocating for any of that. You know what I mean? But stuff happens. Unpopular opinion. Stuff happens. You have to look out for that type of stuff. But, and I'm getting I guess I'm getting sort of personal here, and it's like, where is he going and where is he coming from? But you can't, and I'm waiting for John to jump in and say something.
Because like you're on something, so it's just like
I'm on something, but I don't know exactly where I'm going.
Okay.
Because I don't know if I'm actually going anywhere. I'm just trying to. I'm not trying to get rid of anything because I don't know. Like I know that this conversation cannot get rid of anything. You know what I mean? But it is like, look at the other side of the coin. Like really, like when I'm having conversations with, and this is coming from a very personal place. So I'll say that. So if it seems all over the place, it's because it's coming from my brain and my experiences, and I'm all over the place. But so when I'm having conversations with people and I'm being asked, what have I done to make her feel this way, or da 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 da. Number one, that may be a good question to ask. But when you get a straight up answer and you hear literally nothing. Now, literally, this is the situation that I'm in right now. And this is going to be, yes, this is the episode that got me in trouble, for sure. So when you're in a situation where you've literally done nothing other than be yourself with a young lady, and you've been nothing but a gentleman, and you've been nice to her, and you've been cool with her, and you're thinking, wait, you don't have a lot of friends, da-da-da-da-da, I'll come alongside you, I'll be your friend, all the while trying to get you to meet different people and all of that type of stuff, but your personality is so, I don't want to get to know you, that after a while I am your only friend, and me being your only friend causes you to like me, and why that is your go-to, I kind of understand it. Like, and then I'm being approached by people and I'm being asked, what am I doing?
Yeah. So that's there. I think that's part why I was waiting for you to get to.
Okay. Then.
It's like, that's what I've experienced the most, is the part where it's like, me and this person, we have a relationship where it's like, we're close. We're good friends. But then it gets to a point where to others, it seems like there's a relationship going on.
Yeah.
And that person, unbeknownst to me, feels like, I like you, but I'm not going to say anything, but I'm going to tell other people around me. And so they're thinking that I'm leading this person on.
Right.
And then comes the phrase, the Christianese phrase, which I I don't like very much, but I get it, is the whole, are you guarding that person's heart?
Right.
And it's like, but wait, she has a mind of her own.
And a heart of her own.
And a heart of her own.
To guard.
Yes. Like, you guard your own heart.
Guard your own heart.
So you're asking me.
Not that I'm not trying to cut you off. Not that I'm not guarding her heart.
Yeah.
But more, I need to guard my heart as well.
Yeah.
But her responsibility is to guard her heart as well.
Yeah.
She has a responsibility in this relationship, whatever the relationship may be.
Correct.
To guard her heart as well.
Yeah.
Proceed. I'm sorry.
And so it's like, so I feel that I am, so you're asking me to do something that's out of my character, in a sense, where it's like, I don't think I'm flirting with this person.
Right.
I think I'm generally having a conversation or a friendship with this person.
Yes.
That I thought was genuine.
Yes.
I'm not flirting.
Right.
I don't, if that's coming across that way to her, that needs to be made known to me.
Yes.
Because if that is the case, and that's not my mindset, I'm not trying to be in a relationship with you.
Yes.
Let me know. Yeah. So this can end. So this can, like, not so much end, like, not the friendship end, but more so the way that we are approaching this friendship.
And how my actions are making you feel. Yes. I can change in certain ways.
Yes.
And so that I don't come off that way.
Correct. And this way, especially, let me know early. Let me know early in the game, because if this goes on for a prolonged period of time,
yes,
this will damage the relationship.
Yes.
Because then it's like, oh, I need to, me personally, I've had the situation where I'm like, oh, I need to cut this off right now.
Yeah.
And that ruins, like, the friendship that was built, what I thought was genuine.
I have to cut off the very thing that has made us so cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
I gotta stop doing it for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I always thought that it was like what
and then that's where it comes the, I guess, where you say the reverse sexism, where it's like, now I'm seen as the player or the wolf.
Right.
Because it seems like I'm leading people on within the body, but that's not the case.
Exactly. So, like, I have this same relationship with multiple people in my life. This relationship is not exclusive. Right. I haven't changed my behavior for you. Like, multiple people can attest that I have this same type of relationship with them. You're the one that's taking it to another level.
Yeah, like, this is me. Like,
yeah,
this is me. Like, I'm the not, I'm not gonna say the happy-go-lucky person,
right? But
I'm that person where it's like, when I value a relationship, when I value a friendship, I put everything into it.
Yeah,
I put everything into it because I want you to know, like, I value you as a person, as a friend, and if you're a believer, I value that even more.
Right. Because
we have a relationship that me and a non-believer can't have. And so it's like, so we have something, like I said, we have something that a non-believer doesn't have, which is Christ. And so we share that bond. And so that should make us closer.
Right.
And so it's like, man, I can't be somebody that I'm not. Right. Like, God built me a certain way. And if how I'm approaching this friendship, if this is causing you to either have feelings about a certain way, please let me know.
Right.
Because I feel like if you feel a certain type of way, that's why I don't like the whole thing where it's like the guy has to approach and make his feelings known, I guess, in a sense, because sometimes we can't tell, like, if that person feels a certain way about it. It's like, you have to let me know sometimes. Like, let me know, because if you're calling me to lead, if the Lord is calling me to lead, it's like, it's certain things that I need to know so I can approach this.
So there can't be no. First of all, that's crazy. Yeah. If I don't have any signs. Yeah. if I don't have any signs that you may feel the same way, I should not be approaching you to begin with. Right. So there should be some signs. Mm-hmm. But somebody gave me this imagery of like Christ laid his life down for us. The Lord laid his life. God came down to earth, paid the ultimate sacrifice. So like the point of a man putting himself out there is like laying it on the line in a small scheme, you know what I mean? In a small way is representative of what the Lord did for us. And because, you know, marriage is symbolic of how Christ loves the church and all of that stuff.
Sacrifice.
Yeah. So I get it. But yeah, there needs to be some type of give and take. Yeah. So it's not like, and then so also in the church, it is this thing of like women wait patiently and then
say nothing.
Women wait patiently, say nothing about, you know, how you feel about a guy. And then, but also women are also looked at or spoken about like property still a little bit, because it's like literally I've had conversations not with men but with women about why don't you guys in the church approach women, which is a whole different conversation.
Because
I just don't like you.
I don't like you.
I just don't like you. I have no problem with approaching somebody that I like. Yes. You're our sister. I love you, but not in that way. In the discussion,
attraction's not there.
Yeah,
it's not there.
But it's this like, and they'll say you have all these single women in the church. Da 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 da. Why don't you just pick one?
Oh man, yeah.
These are not men saying this. These are actual women saying this about themselves. Why don't you just pick one? Because they can say no, because they have feelings of their own. I can like them all day, but if they don't want to be with me, that's just it. Huh? Why? Like, so like it's even down to the point where like that is the rhetoric. And I know this is a lot of churches. Like, oh yeah, just pick a woman. Like people will literally come to certain churches because they've been known to like, it's, go to this church because it's the land flowing with milk and honeys. You know what I mean?
See what you did there. Okay.
Yeah. Bars, man. But come on.
Yeah.
So it's hard to make a case that the Bible isn't sexist when you got that type of stuff going on. When you got that type of rhetoric floating around, when you got that type of ideology floating around in your head, and across going around the congregation.
Yeah. And it's like, who says it's my job like to pursue someone in that body, like in that church?
Some churches believe that's where you should find a wife, is in the same congregation.
And I don't see that.
I don't think that's where we are right now.
I mean, look, so
I think I could bring somebody in church, in our church. In this instance, I'm talking about our church.
Yeah.
Right now. Yeah. Not beforehand. I'm talking about just church in general. Yeah. Like I said before, I love my church. I love my church. But in our context, I feel like it is that though. Like people like, look within the church, but it's like I don't think that there would be a problem if I brought somebody from outside of our church, and I don't think it would be an issue.
I've experienced it where that has, not at this church specifically, but I've experienced it where like that is the issue. Like, oh, why not pursue somebody here? It's because I don't like somebody here.
Obviously, I don't like anybody here.
Yeah,
that much.
I don't see someone in the way that that you want me to see them.
And it's also in the way that we view marriage. Cause it's like, am I not supposed to like this person? Or it's cause a lot of people feel like God will, and it's true, but I don't know if it's God's like perfect will, for lack of a better term, for like, you know, like cause somebody like literally described it to me as an arranged marriage, and I hated the concept because it's just like, oh well, you just pick somebody and the Lord will like bring y'all together. And, you know, he'll cause, you know, if you're a Christian, you could be with anybody. I'm like, that's not true. If you're a Christian and they're a Christian and the Lord could work it all out. And sometimes people aren't meant to be together. Yeah. And it's okay. You can be sanctified, Holy Ghost filled, fire baptized. Got Jesus on your mind running for your life. And it ain't it. Mm-hmm. I had and like I said, and it's time for this conversation because I'm tired of holding it in. I had a situation, and this is where this is all coming in, and why I'm even more adamant about it than I was before, because it had me fuming for a while, but then when all this came to light, not even to light, when all this came about, I would say came out, or because I'm like, y'all don't know nothing, and y'all and y'all talking, and y'all have no clue, but y'all talking, y'all running y'all mouth. Oh, I'm getting in it now. Okay, maybe this is why I started this podcast.
It was.
It wasn't.
Slightly.
No, it wasn't.
Slightly.
What?
I mean, because you said that was going to be the first name of the podcast.
What?
The first podcast was going to be the episode that got me in trouble.
Yeah, I've been trying to get in trouble. I've been trying to get in trouble every episode.
You talked about this in the beginning.
No, but it's not the reason why I started the podcast. It's
not the big reason, but
it's just...
It was a topic that you said was going to come.
Oh, for sure. It had to.
Yeah.
It had to. Because I don't want people to think that I'm trying to hide from an issue. You know? Let's be clear here, and I'm being very serious. I'm not hiding from anything. I'm not one to hide things about me. I'm one that wants to be known. Known, and when I say known, it implies accuracy. It implies precision. Because if you don't know, like, I want to be known. So if something you think you know something about, you heard something about me, that ain't knowing me. That's hearing something about me. You don't know. Just like you don't know the Lord unless you walking with him. Right. How do you know somebody unless you doing life with them, unless you're with them? Mm-hmm. You don't know a person, you know about them. Mm-hmm. You don't know them. So I can follow you all day on Instagram. I don't know you. I'm following you. That means I see you that means I see your back. I'm following you. It's one thing to follow somebody. It's another thing to walk with them. If I'm walking with you, I'm talking with you. I'm having conversations with you. I can see you. I know what angers you. I know what makes you happy. I know what makes you tick. If I'm following you, I see from a skewed point of view. Get off of Instagram. Get off of Twitter. Get out of other people's mouths. You don't know unless you've walked with me, done life with me. So, with that said, I went through a previous situation. I swore I wasn't going to talk about my church. It's less about my church and more about the issue at hand. And I'm done saying I love my church. I'm well documented in saying that. Well documented. People approached me, or two people had the guts enough to approach me about a situation that I had with some females back in the day. They cared not that it was back in the day, didn't even bring that up. that it was back in the day. They was like, yeah, we heard that you had, I had improper relationships, inappropriate relationships with a couple of people that they knew about. These girls started attending our church. Were they members before then? No. Like when we were having these inappropriate dealings, were they members? No, they were not. Were they like, did people know them? No, I'm thinking I'm never, you know what I mean? Like I know you outside. I didn't meet you at church. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not making excuses for the action or whatever, like, cause I repented for all of that. I'm like, you're talking, like, we're literally talking 3 years ago. And at the time that I was approached about it, it was about a year and a half to 2 years ago. And so I'm being sat down by some elders, and here I am. I'm just like, I'm thinking, like, look, sinner saved by grace, like I've been forgiven for this, from who I need to be forgiven from this. And I've asked for forgiveness from who I need to ask forgiveness from. You know what I'm saying? So literally, this was what was said to me. This is what was said to me. No names, anonymity. I cherish it. I was talking to somebody today about it, and it was like somebody, like, I'm like, there's no such thing as anonymity in y'all lives. Like, will y'all just have to bring up names? Like, why is that the case? Why can't you kiss and not tell? Like, why isn't that you know what I mean? What's done in the dark is going to come to the light. But that's, so they sat me down, and I'm like, I'm more than willing, because I'm not living that life. I'm like, what do you need to know? What do you want to know? I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I personally am not hiding anything. I'm not hiding anything. What do you want to know? If it's about me, what do you want to know? I'm not about to tell you anything about anybody. I'm just not. This is the episode that got me in trouble. Whew. I don't know how y'all gonna feel about this one. So they pulled me aside, and they're like, hey man, we heard you had some inappropriate dealings with bop with this person and that person. They didn't say any names. They said they didn't give me a number or anything. And they were like, is this true? I was like, uh-huh. Again, I'm thinking 2 years ago, but if it was yesterday, I'd probably be like, yeah. So it was like, yeah, so we heard da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay. And how many was, now that's one question I wish I hadn't answered. I wish I wouldn't have said how many it was. I told him to, but I wish I wouldn't have said it, cause why, you know what I'm saying? Like, why do you need to know? Why do you need to know the number? I wish I would have done certain things differently, but I thought it would have been handled differently. So I handled it how I thought I should have been handled. And I didn't handle it like as if they're people and they're going to mess up sometimes. What I did was I allotted grace, and I gave grace for when they messed up, as opposed to, I'm going to give grace for when you mess up, but I'm also not going to put you in a position to mess me over. You know what I mean? And I didn't do that. You know what I mean? I had too much faith in people at that time. And I have much more empathy on people who put their faith in the church as opposed to God in situations. You know what I mean? Because that can cause church hurt. And not putting all the blame on them. Some of it is the church, And but I answered it. I was like, yeah, too, da da da. And it was like, yeah. So they told us, that, that y'all did some stuff, and they said in some cases that they even felt forced. So forced, I'm with you until that word comes out, and I'm flabbergasted, and I'm I'm literally like in my head. Have you seen the meme with Mr. Krabs, and it got the little whirly thing on, that's like literally how it felt like. Cause forced, I don't know in what culture they're coming from, but in forced, it's not a good thing. Mm-mm. And so immediately I know myself, so there's no question in my mind where I was like, absolutely not. And I'm just shaking my head like I'm not hearing anything until you change that word. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, no. Like, absolutely not, absolutely not, absolutely not. Like, no, we cannot move forward because no. You know what I mean? And I'm not giving that to you, because no. Never. And in my mind, again, like, still being the person that I am, I have so many accounts on which I can make it clear to you that it wasn't forced at all. You know what I'm saying? So he says the darndest thing when I say absolutely not. And I'm shaking my head profusely. Like, no. He goes, well, we don't mean forced. We don't mean, I can't believe I'm talking about this. We don't mean forced as in like physically, but like you manipulated them and you coerced them and caused them to do certain things. And I said, what? Now, that I disagree with, but of course I could take that a little bit more than actually physically imposing myself on another person and making them do something that they didn't want to do. But immediately, I said no to that. I'm like, no, because once again, I'm recalling all these situations, and out of respect for them, even still to this day, and and I've this story goes way deeper than this, and I'm not even gonna say that it got better, but it ended, and there's no animosity between me, at least not on my end, with the two people involved. I'm even like super cool with one of them now because it's like she's like, we're cool. I never even said anything like that, which made me go, what in the world is happening? And where is all this coming from? Where it's all my fault and that they had no stake in any of this? You know what I'm saying? So it was like, oh, that they felt forced, but like not forced. They was like, they said it was consensual. I'm like, so what are we talking about? What are we talking about? And why am I the villain here if it's consensual? Do they not have a brain? Do they not have a mind of their own? Do they not have a mouth? It was high key on some conspiracy stuff on one of their parts. Well, again, like women just being conniving and diabolical, like diabolical on one of their parts. Like literally, one of them told me everything that this girl planned when she got off the phone with me, like to just assassinate my character. But the fact that they believed it immediately because of this reverse sexism and probably some other stuff, but we're sticking with the reverse sexism issue right now. I was just utterly appalled. And John is super quiet. I feel like I'm talking to myself right now. He's looking at me, but
because you're telling your story.
He's like, I'm gonna let you get in trouble all by yourself.
I'm here on this podcast, so I'm a.
No, but you being quiet on the part, I need you to be like, or nah, or
I say a couple,
or whatever.
Word.
It's tough, man. It's tough because from that stems a whole bunch of issues, but we're sticking with this one right now, and I can't believe I'm telling y'all this, man. Crazy.
I didn't know it was gonna get that deep either.
Yeah. I don't got no filter. Like, I'm either all in or it ain't.
Yeah, I ain't know it was going there, so
Hey, I can't. It either gotta go there or we not going. I can't drop you off. I gotta go too. So here we are, and I'm literally sitting there having this conversation, and this guy isn't believing anything that I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like no, there could not, like, so for the words it was consensual to come out of your mouth, and to still move on with the idea that I had done something outside of their will. Because, you know what I mean? Like, are they not people with wills of their own? Are they, like, I'm like, bro, I'm in my mind, I'm sitting there like really thinking like, bro, if I told you everything, you know what I'm saying, you wouldn't believe. But I would never make myself look like that, and I would never make them look like that. No matter what was said, I'm not stooping that low, you know. But here we are, and it's a tough truth. It's a tough truth, but I'm gonna push through because I honestly feel like that it needs to be said, and I'm willing to take any repercussions that come from this. But it needs to be said in whatever way. You know what I mean? I'm not even trying to, you know what I mean? Whatever. Man. So for you to say, no, they said it was consensual, but why is there a but? Why could it not have been two people that decided to do something stupid? You know what I mean? Now, okay, put more of it on me. Fine. Because I'm a leader. Because, you know what I mean? Because I'm a man. Put more of it on me. Fine. But don't say that they had nothing to do with it. It's like this. If God is judging them, if at the end of the day, and God is because the Lord does judge, but he doesn't condemn. We condemn ourselves because of our unbelief. If at the end of the day, and they're standing before God once they get to the pearly gates or whatever y'all want to call it, there's not going to be a man for every time that they've done something wrong. There's not going to be a man that pops up out of the ground or out of the clouds or however you want to look at it and be like, okay, so and God's showing you your life. And God goes, okay, for this account right here, what did that man do to make you do this? It's not going to be that. There is going to be an account that you yourself have to give. You have to give an account for that. And the answer, there shouldn't be no other answer other than I am a sinner. You know what I'm saying? That is it. Sin. There's like what I've always wondered that. Like, what answer are we going to give? But there should be no other answer. I'm a sinner. I deserve death. You know what I'm saying? But grace, thanks be to God that he sent his son, and he could be our atonement, and that he could be the propitiation for our sin, and that we don't have to face that if we believe. My fault. If we believe, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I just had to say that because I don't want nobody thinking like, oh, I'm going to hell. You know, like, if you believe, Romans 10:9, okay? Relax. Put all your weight. Put all of it on Jesus. Put it all on the cross. Put it all on the cross. But there will be an account that you have to give. And God's not going to say, so what did this man do to make you fall here, 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 and there? What did Keith do? What did John do? What did this and that person do? He's going to be looking at you. But there'll come a time when I have to give an account. And there's not going to be a woman there to say to pop up. So what did this person do? That ain't your fault. You know what I mean? Like, some things aren't your fault and some things happen. But in acts like that, when you say, no, it was consensual, but there is no but. There is no but. Why is there a but when it comes to women? it implies that they don't have a mind of their own when it comes to certain things. And I have an issue with that. And it implies that whenever a woman feels a way about a man, that man has done something outside of being himself, that he's done something wrong. I have an issue with it. I'm dealing with the situation, right? Oof. Oh, y'all gonna hate me. Y'all not listening after this. Or maybe y'all are. Y'all like dirty. Y'all like stuff like this. But yeah, like, so I'm like, which it popped up in my head. Like, I'm like, I just have to talk about this. Like, literally, I'm having a conversation with somebody. And I'm having conversations with people that I love and people that I look up to and people that I go to for guidance. Excuse me. People that I go to for guidance and affirmation and like, just like, you're my big brother. And they're like literally asking me, what have you done to make this woman feel this way? And it's like, I've literally done nothing. Not even, at this point, I didn't even indulge in anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm literally being myself, like being nice to you because nobody's your friend. And all of a sudden you like me, but it's hard. You know what I mean? It's hard to say. It's like, well, she feels this way. And I'm like, I've literally had 3 DTRs with this person. And it's still my fault.
DTR, for those who don't know.
Yeah.
The Christianese for define the relationship.
So I defined the relationship 3 times with this person and said, I am not interested. I am not. And she's like, well, is it because you're in a space and da-da-da-da-da and one day you'll want to be with me? I'm not one for false hope. I am not one to lead a person on. And that's the thing. Like, well, why is she still on you if you've led this person on and led that person? No. I've always been up front because I've been led on in my life. And it is not a good feeling. Having false hope is the worst, one of the worst feelings. I would never do that to a person. It hurts. I would never do that. I wouldn't do that to my worst enemy. Give them false hope. So why would I do that to a person that I remotely care about? Yeah, I hope a person hears this that needs to hear this. Cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out. So we can talk all day about how men and women are equal in the eyes of God and this and that and all of that. But you got to live that out. You got to actually be that. It can't be one way for this and that situation. But when it comes to a certain situation that you just turn that off and that women are just helpless. Because that doesn't speak well for the woman nor to the man. Cut it out. Cut it out. And I feel like the people that spew that, it's like you couldn't possibly had, like, I'm going to say it, you couldn't, like, it's almost like, have you ever had anybody like you? You know what I'm saying? To where you feel like, oh, if a girl likes you, that is something that you had to have done? You've never experienced somebody liking you first, have you? It's got to be that. Cut it out. Cut it out. John, is there anything you would like to add? Why not? Come sink this ship with me, man.
I don't know how, man.
It's already sunk.
We know pretty much at the bottom. So.
That's fine. Right. That's fine. If this is the last podcast that I do,
which it won't be.
It won't be, but I'm glad I said this. I don't think I'll renege on this. I really don't. I really don't. Because I think it's an issue. So you want men to pursue women in the church. Oof. So the contradiction is crazy. So you want men to pursue women, but you don't want them making them feel any type of way. You want me to find a wife, but you don't want me to. So you want me to find. So and here's another thing. And like literally, people were upset. Like so at some point, like when people they'll be together and then they'll get engaged and they'll be together and then they decide that it's not working out. People are in an uproar about that. People in church are in an uproar about that. And I'm like, you should be looking at that as a joyous thing. Those people were mature enough to say, hey, this isn't for us. This isn't what we want. Thank God we didn't go into a marriage and then found out when it was too late, when we got to split the money down the middle and all of that type of stuff, and kids are involved in all of that stuff, and we figured out early that this wasn't for us. Why aren't we looking at that as a blessing? But we put marriage and we put weddings and we put relationships on this big pedestal where nobody's allowed to fail at anything. Nobody's allowed, and it's not even failure. I wouldn't even constitute that as failure.
It's a success.
I've succeeded. Our relationship was a success. If we believe that God is sovereign and that God does no wrong, God allowed me to realize that you were not the one for me. And prayerfully, there is somebody out there for you that you are now free to go and find, because we know in our hearts that we are not for each other.
I feel like that it prepared you.
It
prepared you for whoever that person that God has specifically designed you to be with. I feel like that this relationship that
it helped
some other
you.
may seem fail, but I see it as a success because this has prepared us for the next step. And
that's why I also have a problem with people saying that they're courting and they're not dating and all of that type of stuff. Like, you know, and it's the Christian thing to say that you're courting, and it's the non-Christian thing to say, like, because Christians say Christians don't date. Some Christians say, but it's like dating is setting you up for divorce. Like, I completely disagree with that. Courting is setting you up for marriage, but I think in some ways, depending on who you are, because nothing's the same thing for everybody. Some things work for some people and some things don't. But that's when you find yourself in a conundrum when you're a circle trying to fit yourself into a triangle that don't work for you. You may need to date. You may need to meet this person and that person to figure out the type of person that you actually want. If I'm courting somebody and I'm completely invested in a person and I'm like, so it's either you or bust. So what may work for one person, that may be what it is for that person, but don't put it on don't make certain things gospel. Don't make certain things doctrine that aren't doctrine. That's not doctrinal. It might be doctrinal because people are like, that's just what it is in some churches. You know what I'm saying? But look, we uplift stuff that Christ and that the Lord and the Bible don't even be talking about. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so sometimes it's like, okay, that might be wise or that might be good to do. That seems wise for me. I think I want to take that approach because I want to honor the Lord. I want to glorify the Lord in this. So for me, this is what I want to do, and I'm worshiping the Lord in this way. That is fine. But don't you dare put that on somebody else and say that's exactly what they need to do because that's how you did it. That's wrong, and that's cultish. And at that point, you're not discipling people. You trying to make them little yous. And the only person that I'm fine with making me a little them is Jesus. Unless you trying to be like Jesus. Like, well, I did it this way, so you got it. No, absolutely not. I believe that my God is multifaceted, and he shows his multifacetedness in all of us. So where we all don't have to be the same. small part of a larger issue. I was going to introduce a new segment today, man, but I agree with you in the transition on this. We might not want to transition there today. I'm going to just leave y'all with this stone cold truth. I believe it's truth. Yeah. So y'all have a good week. Y'all be blessed. Peace out.
Peace.
God bless. No, let's pray.
All right.
Let's pray. Father God, I thank you, Lord, for this podcast, and I thank you for the ability to be able to express myself to a wide span of people. I pray that people will get from this podcast what they're supposed to get from this podcast. My words are not to be taken as absolute truth, but they are to be considered. And if I have offended anybody unjustly, Lord God, please forgive me, and allow the person that is offended to be graced to forgive me. And if I've offended somebody justly, let them feel that, and let them turn if need be. I pray for anybody out there that has viewed women in a way that they shouldn't have. I ask for, and as I've communicated, that I viewed women in a way that I shouldn't have. And I have misused women, and I'm well documented in asking for forgiveness in that, and I do that again. But I know that you have. But as there's one side to the coin, there is also another, and as there are many sides to a square, I just would like all sides to be looked at. So not one person walks away feeling like they're 100% correct, and one person walking away feel like they're 100% wrong, unless they're 100% wrong. Make us and mold us into who you want us to be, and to look more like you, and to view each other how you view us as your children. We love you and we praise you.